People like me don't get opportunities like this all the time. If you don't run through the wall with this opportunity, you're wasting it. You're wasting all the people that have rooted for you, all the people that have invested in you.
What did you learn about yourself? Because it must have changed you a little bit by making that switch.
And his next response to me set the tone for everything. He was like, well, bleep, time to go show out. But winning the title in the East, when the Yankees and Red Sox, who have just been so dominant, especially over the Orioles over the last 20 years at that time, it was really special. At this point, it's not a fandom conversation. It's like man to man, like, man, you were badass. Can I buy you a drink? Yes, you can.
What does it take to be a 5-time All-Star? Adam Jones, I don't know how we found you in Barcelona, but we did, and I'm very delighted that we have, that you're here. And when you I've just taken you around the base and you've had a little look at what we're trying to do here with the team, and you can probably sense the history, the understanding of tradition that sort of comes from within these walls, but also the innovation in terms of moving things forward. And I often talked about Ben, if he was able to convert this into a win, it would be historical and it would be his defining moment in time. If you look back at your career and the times that you've had, what would you say is something that you could say that was my moment in time, that was defining for me?
Well, first, I appreciate being invited down here. This facility is just amazing, beautiful, well-crafted. The technology is through the roof. The minds that are going on, the attention to detail, it is mind-boggling just to be around such innovative people. For me, I think my moment in time was when I got traded. It was a time that I was a young player thinking that I had a spot with one team, not understanding that the whole other league was available and open to me.
So what happened there? Just take people through who don't necessarily understand or know too much about baseball. Just take us through the process of what a trade involves in the first instance.
Well, a trade obviously is two teams agreeing to come apart with players or cash, or just agreeing to dish out players. The major leagues is the top level, and it is incredibly tough. It's depressing. It's demoralizing. It's stressful. It's very rewarding. It is amazing.
Why is it all of those things?
Because it is the only sport where 30% success rate will make you a lot of money. I don't think many jobs and occupations, especially sports, if you are 30% successful, you're going to be profitable. I think, it's just a business. You have to look at yourself, and I was told when I was 18, you're a commodity. Be the best commodity for as long as you can be a commodity. And, that's, I think, what sports are. And if you're not a good one, what happens to you? You get thrown to the wayside and another one comes in. And I learned at a very, very young age to just try and be the best that you can be for as long as you can be it.
So when you got traded from the Mariners to the Orioles, what was your first feeling? What was your first sort of sentiment about that? How did it make you feel?
Well, my first emotion was, okay, well, this is kind of weird, because I knew I had a feeling it was going to happen, but obviously we have to wait till it happens. But I'm driving on my way to Vegas at the time I get the call. So I had to tell the GM, I was like, look, I'm in a bad patch of area. Can I call you when I get to Las Vegas? I'm sure that's not what the Orioles general manager wanted to hear at the time. Like, we just traded for a 22-year-old guy, and he's on his way to Vegas right now. What's going on here? And I get to the hotel, and I give everybody a call back. And, it was really a sense of relief. But on my way there, in between that time, I had about an hour, I called my brother. And me and him, obviously, has always been my biggest supporter when it came to sports. Obviously, my parents, who are no longer with us, but my brother's always been just a guy who I could run everything off of, and he knows sports. And I'm like, bro, I just got traded to the Orioles. And he's like, no way. There's no way you did. And his next response to me set the tone for everything. He was like, well, bleep, time to go show out. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, they don't have a center fielder. You're going to go get to play. They're not that good. You're going to get to play every day. Go show out. You get to go to New York, Boston, Toronto. Go show out. And I'm just thinking okay, I'm all right, call my mom. And then I get to the hotel, and then I just was thinking about that on the way. And I'm like, okay, cool. 2 weeks later, we go to spring training. And the second day there, the manager tells me, Dave Tremblay, he says, hey, this is your job to lose. I didn't move positions, and I don't think I lost my position. I think it was the right time to move until August, mid-August of 2018. Mm-hmm. So I held my position for over 10 years, 10 and a half years playing center field. And that was a tribute to staying in shape, but it was a tribute to my brother telling me, you got this opportunity. My mentors telling me, you got this opportunity, and understanding that people like me don't get opportunities like this all the time. If you don't run through the wall with this opportunity, you're wasting it. You're wasting all the people that have rooted for you, all the people that have invested in you. You know, I wasn't able to afford every tournament as a kid, but the people that were fortunate enough to get me in those tournaments because they knew that there's something in this kid, all those people. If I didn't try my hardest, for some reason I'd go home and be like, if I get a text from my mom, be like, man, if you didn't, I know she's going to say
But
something.
you feel like the pressure of that, there's a lot of expectation on that you put on yourself, but also, to live up to what everyone around you is also saying you're capable of.
And I loved it, though, because it was something I was good at. I really enjoyed going out there every day and representing San Diego, representing the Baltimore Orioles, representing the Jones family, my wife's family, the Fugit family, the Lewis family, going and representing them on a daily basis. When I come to New York, like, they're New Yorkers, but they would be in Orioles gear because they knew their family members coming there, and I'm going to do some damage to the Yankees. I got to. You know what I mean? We're going to go there. We're just going to be a battle. And to be able to represent so many people, not just myself, was, I think, the greatest selfless thing sports brings. You just don't represent yourself. You represent your family, your sponsors. You represent everybody that is investing in your well-being. You represent the fans. So, I always wanted to represent the fans with the utmost respect at the same time. I
mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I think the Mariners have sort of since said you're the one that got away. Does that make you feel good? That must make you feel good.
It's obviously very humbling. Would my career have been the same there? I say yes. I think I would have had a very good career there also. I love the area. Seattle was amazing. It is, arguably the best center field for me to play. It's one of the best surfaces. The garlic fries you can smell about the fourth inning in center field. They have a beer garden outside and right behind center field where my brother and my cousin would always come up. It was like a brother's cousin trip. They would always come up, sit right there in the beer gardens. A lot of my videos, I'm looking back at them, talking to them throughout the game, just having a good time. The downtown, the Pike's Place, like Seattle was what I knew. Mm-hmm. But then I get traded over to the East Coast, and it wasn't what I knew. Yeah, I knew king crab. I knew Alaskan king crab. You snap it, dip it in butter.
So it was a culture swap as well.
Everything. Because they're telling me, you got to eat our Dutchess crab. You like crab cakes? And I'm like, it's all thrown at me at once. I don't even know how to open a crab. My 10-year-old niece helps me open the crabs to this day. But I ingratiated myself in the community. I was not afraid to try it.
I was going to say, what did you learn about yourself? Because it must have changed you a little bit by making that switch. What did you learn about yourself, making that move and moving forward in the way that you did?
Hello, performance people, listeners. My name is Freddie Carr, and I host a podcast called The Inside Tack, which is a podcast that follows the British America's Cup team, Ineos Britannia, as we get ready for the 37th America's Cup down here in Barcelona. We also follow the youth and the first ever Women's America's Cup. We would love you to like and subscribe to our podcast. Follow us on all your social media channels as we get ready for our sporting challenge of a lifetime.
Well, sports obviously helps it, and with sports, there's always people from all over the United States and the country and the world to where, they all have different backgrounds, different stories to where they can help you. In Baltimore, I had my mother, my brothers, they would come out. And then one of my good friends was the clubhouse guy, Patrick Thomas. I met him 2 years prior when I was with the Mariners. And when I got traded over there, we got to form a really good friendship throughout spring training because I'm the new guy. He would help me navigate myself through spring training down in Florida, navigate myself the first wave of the season up in Baltimore because he knew the city. It's his city. But he's very young. We're both. I'm 22. He's 21. So we're very young. We go out and have party together and all that kind of stuff. Go out to eat. He's like a little brother to me, and still to this day. And he just showed me just Baltimore. And this is what we like in Baltimore. We like our Ravens. We like our Orioles. We like our Terps. We like our Natty Boh beer. I still haven't had one to this day. I like a good beer. I'm not going to drink Natty Boh. We like our crabs, our crab cakes. And, these are our customs. These are our sayings. And I got to know them. I got to know the people of Baltimore. I got to know the current mayor, who was at the time a councilman who was trying to make the city better. I've gotten to know so many really good people because obviously playing well allowed me to stay in the city for a long time. But I took it upon myself to get involved with the city because the city looks like me. The demographics of Baltimore are heavy African American. And I just wanted to create some change. We redid 5, 6 boys and girls clubs, me and my wife over the years with the help of the Orioles. And I just wanted to give back to a community that is investing in me, give hope to kids that look like me to say, hey, I want to play baseball. As you know, the numbers are going down in baseball for African Americans, but at the same time, preach education. My wife's a lawyer, her whole family, they are lawyers. They are the brains of the Jones Corp. And, just preaching education and preaching that there's a future beyond just sports. There's a whole world of opportunity for everybody.
If you had to sort of say your finest moment as an Orioles player, what would you put it down to? I mean, there's quite a few in there. Is there anything that sort of sticks out as a moment that you feel within, that particular storyline? It was again defining.
I think I've harbored it down. There's some great moments, but winning the American League East title, getting to the playoffs in 12 was great. It was the new wild card system. It allowed extra teams to get in, so we were an extra team. If it was the next year, maybe not, or previous year, we wouldn't have been in the playoffs. It was an anomaly. It was fantastic. I'm not taking that away from us. It was great. But winning the title in the East, when the Yankees and Red Sox, who have just been so dominant, especially over the Orioles over the last 20 years at that time, it was really special. And you can see with the fans, like you had fans crying, like, we're not Michael Jackson. This is not that crazy. And you had fans really showing emotion because there's fans that literally their whole life, they've just been getting pounded by the Yankees and Red Sox. We still haven't won the World Series since '83. So there's still that older generation that is hanging on to dear life, like the Cubs. Some people are the Cubs and old Red Sox, and the Guardians, who haven't won since '48. So there's still some people hanging on to see if they win, but there's guys who have never won in their entire life. And I'm part of their childhood. That moment for me will always be important because even to this day, as I age with these guys, like I can go anywhere in Baltimore and it'll always be, I grew up on you. And it's at this point, it's not a fandom conversation. It's like man to man, like, man, you were badass. Can I buy you a drink? Yes, you can.
And actually, the sentiment and what it meant to you to be part of that setup is sort of clear in the fact that you, after 11 years and a couple of other clubs and everything else, you came back for you signed that 1-day contract so that you would end it as an Oriole player. I mean, what did that mean to you?
I meant everything also because it's obviously not where I started. It's where it meant the most. Every place I played, Seattle, every inning I played there, every inning I played with the Diamondbacks, and every inning I played in Japan was very special to me. But the time in Baltimore obviously shaped me and created Adam Jones, the I guess the brand or just the person. And again, it was really important for me to do that for my family. I think for my boys, they didn't get to see the glory days of Adam Jones. They got to see old Adam Jones in Japan, pushing around, lugging around. So I think it was really good for them, my wife, my extended family. It was a very good turnout for them to just to see what I think I meant to the people of Baltimore. They're so far removed from it. I think everybody was, and I think it was one good send off to show what, first of all, how I felt about Baltimore and how they felt about me as a player, as a community leader. And I think it was a perfect day. The Oriole fans showed up. The Orioles ownership, the Orioles front office, Mike Elias, Jennifer Grandal, just did such a fantastic job and making sure everybody was comfortable, making sure everybody was happy. And, it was a great send off. Who I would have loved to retire normally, just like everybody else, get there in final day in the uniform. It didn't work out the way that everybody perfects it. 99% of athletes don't get to retire that way. Most of them just don't get a call. So I'm fortunate enough that they were very appreciative and receptive to saying, hey, you meant so much to this organization, the city. We'll give you this day. And it was fantastic.
What does it take? Final question. What does it take to be a 5-time All-Star? What do you need? Not just in terms of physicality, but mental strength and approach. What do you need as your character to be able to do something like that?
Well, you have to want to. You got to want to be there. The Midsummer Classic. That's I think the greatest name of the All-Star game. You're around the best players at the time. And again, there's snubs. Do I think I could have had more All-Star games? Sure. Maybe I had more All-Star games than I deserved. There's always that. If you want to say you should have had more, right? I think it's with the Gold Glove. It's the same thing. I have 4 of those. And it was more of, I got one, and my mentor, Mark McLemore, was like, man, boy, you good. I see you. Okay, you working. I got him at my second year, full year, 23. And he's like, now do it again. Tony Gwynn told me. All right, that was great. Now do it again. These are guys that played 19, 20 years in the big leagues. This is my second. I think I'm on top of the world. No, youngster, do it again. I didn't win one in 10 and 11. I thought I had great defensive years those years. I thought I had good offensive years going at the time. No, youngster, you did it once. No, I need you to do it. I need you to do it again. So 2012. All right, hey, I'm going to prove that I can do it. I went to the All-Star game, won the Gold Glove, and then I did it in 13 and 14. And I think when it proved to myself, and it proved to the big heads, the big dogs of the game, the Jeters, the big poppies of them, that like, okay, at those times, these guys were 10, 12, Mariano Rivera, all these All-Star games. It was cool to have one. A lot of people have one of something, one grand slam, one this. How many people have more than one? Not many. So if you can get that 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, you get a plaque for the All-Star game. If you can get that, then okay, you made it somewhere. Now, if you can get 8, 10, then you're in a different stratosphere. But if you can get the multiples, you're entering into a different realm. And it was a challenge every year, and not a greedy challenge, because I think that if I'm playing every day, if I'm performing, my team should be winning. In those years, my team was winning. We didn't win a championship, but went to the playoffs 2 out of 4 years. The third year we didn't. We were very competitive. So I think my play affected the team. So it wasn't selfish, but it was a very high goal to want to be regarded as one of the best defenders and as an all-star. Because, you want to be, who doesn't want to be on top?
See, it's consistency, isn't it? Every time it's consistency and playing at that top level. Adam, it's been brilliant having you in. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for.
Join us for the Performance People podcast every week for the highs, lows, lessons and stories from people like this lot. Michael Johnson.
Some days what I would see is a person who is a shell of what I used to be.
Eddie Hearn.
We don't operate in a business that's dangerous, but we just operate in one where you've got to sleep with one eye open.
Mo Farah.
It couldn't get any harder than what I've gone through, and at that point I just went for it.
Paula Radcliffe.
You can only control yourself.
Susie Wolf.
And Toto did once liken me to a donkey.
Every Tuesday, wherever you get your podcasts.